Here is our micro site. You will become familiar with this screen later if you're not already logged into the iSupplier portal, and you will soon be logging into. You'll become very familiar with this screen right here. On this screen, can you scroll up, Lucy, a little bit? So this again is our Procurement Services iSupplier portal. This first page right here is speaking primarily to the workshops that are for, is this delegates?
No.
Or ours?
No,
okay, eProcurement.
Anybody here a delegate agent? Agency? No, these are vendors.
Okay, very good. Okay. So this part right here is speaking to, yes, pretty accurate. This paragraph right here is speaking to our eProcurement workshops. So today we're having a workshop, which is right there. The next one will be on October. We have it the third Thursday of every month. So you can come as often as you like to our workshops until you got it down to a science. Our orange bar right here, the orange ribbon expresses or displays what you will find within the microsite, which is very advantageous for you if you're a new vendor to the city of Chicago. So we will go through the login and registration. We will go through current bids and solicitations. We'll go through the online training, and we'll go through the online training because after that it's all about the delegate agency departments. So again, if you are currently a vendor with the city of Chicago, how many of you are current vendors doing business with the city? Maybe not, but do have a vendor code. Wow, fabulous. Okay, very good. So of you who are current vendors with the city of Chicago and you have a vendor code, are you already logged into the iSupplier portal? Yes? Yes? Yay. Very good. So those of you who are not vendors with the city of Chicago and are interested in being a vendor with the city of Chicago, you have to Those of you who are vendors with the city are already have your login ID and you're already utilizing the portals. Okay. If you're not, then you have to register, and at registration, can you go back? At registration, it's going to ask you a lot of questions, and you fill out the form for registration. You fill out the form. That form will go to our clerical unit, Shared Administrative Services. They will receive it in a proprietary mailbox, and they'll look over your credentials, whatever it is, however you register. They'll look that over. If it meets standard, then if you meet all the requirements, then you will be approved. You'll receive an email that'll give you your password, and then you'll log in with your temp password, and then you set yourself up, and now you're in. For the portal, you must have an FEIN number. You must submit that W-9. That is a requirement for the iSupplier portal. Next part. Actually, I want current because this is not a spread. This is okay. So when you're interested in bidding on an eProcurement, you will come to current bids and solicitation opportunities. That's where your eBids are. And the page that you'll be looking at is called an abstract page. On it, it lists all of the eProcurements. Now, we do still accept, procurement does still accept paper hard copy, but we highly encourage our vendors to submit an eBid because that is where we are at right now currently. We are doing electronic solicitations, and so we read the electronic solicitation first, but if you do submit a paper copy solicitation, we'll read that after all of our electronic solicitations have been read. To see what is currently our current solicitations, you'll click on eProcurement solicitation opportunities, and then you'll get an abstract page. This abstract is current to date. These are our most current solicitations. Now let me tell you, We went live, eProcurement. Our first live awarded eProcurement was sometime in last year. We're in a new year now, and we have most of all of our contract types on eProcurement. I'm way beyond excited about that because it took a long time to get our process together, a lot of training, and so we started off with what is the most common contract type as we began to do e-bids was commodities. We started with commodities. So our commodities, our construction, our RFPs, our work services, not work services, our small orders, those contract types are now e-procurement bids, all e-bids. So it's so busy. We're so busy. And I say that because our page never looked like this. Next 4. That says next, I don't know how to work this clicker so I can show you like the laser bird. It says next 4. So we have, there are 14 pages of e-solicitations out there. So please, I hope that there is something of your interest in one of those pages. 14. So some of them I see where it says event, that's a delegate agency. These are RFQs for city departments. So the difference is that if you're a delegate agency vendor, you work for the delegate-like departments like housing, DFSS, Department of Planning and Development, Health Department. They put out a lot of delegate, which is generally federally funded type solicitations. But our contracts, DPS's contracts, that are let through the departments of the city of Chicago, like that's transportation. Can you go back? 14, wow. So here we have construction, and then our commodities. That's a lot of work. You guys just have the work that is involved in just putting together an e-solicitation is so endearing, and then the fact that now it's going out, it's out for bid, and we have to read it electronically. And first we had like 2 or 3. Now we got at least 60 or so e-bids. Okay, great. This is fabulous. So this is what an e-solicitation, the page looks like. So you guys are used to looking at the bid opening listing, right? Well, at the bid opening listing, you're used to going to our website and pulling up a PDF copy of that solicitation, downloading it, filling it in. Either you type on it if you can, or you write on it. This you don't have to do with an e-procurement. Can you go back to the abstract page so we can?
Just want to show them that they're still formal bids.
Oh, sure, they are. Are you interested in showing them that? Show me what you're talking about.
So you know that we're still taking paper bids, so not everything out for bid is going to be on the procurement site. You will be able to still go to the current bid opportunities, and you'll see downloadable paper bid opportunities here. That's the normal site.
Slow down. So we do have some bids out here that have already closed. Scroll up. I think there's some professional services out here that are going to be opening up. If you scroll down, we'll see. Right. So to her point, to Lucy's point, although we are doing e-procurements, electronic bids, there are still some commodities like professional services that is not, we're not doing those yet, right? So these are still paper bids until we do begin to do until we do begin to do e-bids with professional services, RFPs and Q contracts, as well as there may be some work services. There still may be some construction. Although the mayor has mandated that all of our contracts be prepared as an e-procurement. Some of them, depending on when the process began, with the using department submission to the department, just an overview for you, with the using department submission of the requisition, the acceptance of the requisition being approved, it's ready to go. It wasn't ready for the e-procurement process yet. So those what we would call an older contract. Even so, some things, as you may know, because you're in business, you started something today, it doesn't get ready to really prepare for 2 years or 3 years now. Maybe it's just us, the city. Maybe it's not you. But we do have contracts that have already been started. And because it's already been prepared, but it's not yet, it's not been out for advertisement yet. So it's going to go out for award the same way it got prepared, paper copy and hard copy. But anything that moving forward if it was not prepared in a paper format and it was prepared in electronic format, it's going to be an e-procurement bid. So that is why we do still have some. Okay, very good. What is the next? So I would like to show you, what's that city say? Because I'm not sure. No, we have one that we want to open up. I'm already logged in as Kim. Okay, go back to the one that says city. I don't know what it says. Okay, you did that. Okay. So, you're interested in a solicitation. And have any of you already submitted an electronic solicitation already yet? You have? What's your company name?
Kenny Construction.
Kenny, oh, absolutely. Okay, yes. Very familiar. Okay, so let's go back to the abstract page. Yes, all right. So there are several things here of importance to you, for you. My interest right now is in the solicitation number, not the specification. So your solicitation number, as you know, is here. This is your solicitation number. That's the best approach for you to search for the solicitation that you may have seen on the bid opening listing. Then you have your specification number. Your solicitation title is always led by the spec number and then its description. The date of advertisement is here. The response date is the same date as the date of advertisement. Your bid opening date is your supplier response due date. You have, just like our regular standard bid openings, until 11 o'clock to submit your bid, but please don't try to submit it at 11 o'clock because it's going through the system, right? 11:01 is submitted, you late. So don't wait till the day of the bid opening to submit your bid. You can submit your bid before the date of the bid opening. You can change your bid all the way up to the day of the bid opening. Save and save often when you're doing electronic bid. Please don't try to beat the crunch because the system can go down. Your system can go down. You might have problems something. So don't wait until 10:45 to try to submit it. You might not make it, right? All bids must be just like our paper bids. You come through the door, bid and bond at 11:01. We have to turn you around. We start at 11:00. So please get your bid in on time. Okay. So can we right. I'm looking for 61317. That's what I want to look at. But to Lucy's point, when you want to, it's this one right here. This one. When you want to look at your solicitation, you click on the details. Then you go up to a PDF. And that PDF will download. Well, you have to log in order to submit it, but before you even get there, well, I'm signed in as Kim, so that's where I want you to go get it. Yeah, I logged in already. Okay, here she is here, yes. So go to online bidding. And, okay. So you found a solicitation that you're interested in. And you go to your online bidding, you log into the system, you go to online bidding, sourcing, homepage, and this is the page that populates right here, right? We didn't even speak about the iSupplier portal yet. So you put in your number, so you want to search, because I don't see it right here. I don't see it, and I know that it's here. So put in 663, is it 6316317? And, oh, very good. Yes. So now we found it. Yes, ma'am.
How did you get that one registered under your name? You know what I mean? Like when I go into the portal, there's nothing listed because we haven't been able to register or like select one to bid for yet. That's why. We have a login, but how do you register to submit on a particular bid? Like how do you get this?
You have to go to your abstract page. Right. Okay. So you've looked in the bid opening listing and you saw something that you were interested in, and
right.
Then you go and you log in and your page is blank.
Yes.
Okay. When you see the solicitation number on the bid opening listing, then you write that down, that solicitation number, and you put it in here and you do a search.
Okay.
Yes. And it'll populate.
As long as it's electronic bid.
Right.
Yes.
I paid you to figure this out.
Correct. So now we want to open up that solicitation. So now this is the front page of the solicitation. On it, it has its title. Here's your specification number with its description. It is active. You have 42 days before its bid opening date. That's what that means. The supplier response date is the day that the bid opened. And this is the date. The supplier's response date is the date of advertisement, and this is the response date is the date of the bid opening, which it all does explain it right here. Bernie Hodges is the procurement specialist. On the front page of that PDF of the solicitation is her phone number. If you have any questions about this solicitation, you can always contact a procurement specialist. Scroll down. That's okay. All right. These attachments here are the attachments prepared by the specialist. It is for your wealth of knowledge. These, like the vendor letter, the invitation, the detailed scope of work, all of this comes from the using department. This is what is expected from you. Key personnel forms, our MBE, WBE special conditions, EDS. Okay, just like with, as I stated with with the iSupplier portal, you must submit a W-9, a copy of your W-9 to register for iSupplier. You must submit an EDS number with your bid solicitation, or it'll be rejected. You must have an EDS number. Your insurance requirements, an appendix, and an example public service announcement. Okay. So now we actually want to create a quote. The first disclaimer is the City of Chicago explaining to you that this is an electronic bid, and that we are not responsible for its contents of what you submitted, or if we don't receive your bid in a timely manner. This is our disclaimer. And you have to click down here that you have read it. Before you can move on, you have to accept that down here. Okay. And now as a vendor, we're ready to submit our quote. So here are your requirements. And you must put something in every box. Not a box can be blank. Even if you don't have it, you just say no. But these are the requirements. Submittal checklist for your RFPQ. Save your draft. Save and save often. If you have anything that you might want to attach, go back up to the top a little bit, just a little bit. If you have anything that you may want to attach, you add your attachments, add attachment right there. The naming convention for this would be the description, the specification number, so that they'll know that what you are attempting to send to us is related to that solicitation number. So you would have put your solicitation number, and then whatever it is, your documents, whatever it is that you're attaching, that you want to attach. So that's the naming convention.
So it's the spec number, and then the description of the attachment.
I'm sorry, did I say solicitation specification? Yes, ma'am.
Does documents have to be attached in a certain order? Does the system
No.
figure it out?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no.
So just as we complete them, it
Yes.
doesn't matter because
Mhm.
Just follow that name
Yes.
convention.
it's all there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can keep adding, and of course you would browse on your computer or your desktop or wherever, and then you would just apply. And you could add another and another and another.
Upload each file.
All of it attached on one on the
Should they be attached separately as documents, or do you want,
Keep
like,
adding on.
Add on, yes. Yes. Yeah. You want to try and send them 10 at one time?
right,
No.
no. do it.
Right. Yes. And see where it says once you submit your one, then it says add another. Yeah. Well, you attach the PowerPoint presentation. You just need to attach like a document. You don't have anything here.
It's not that URL. Oh, it's coming from the, I know. These come, you can't come from the share, has to come from the computer. I'm doing it on the stick. From the,
Well, you can cancel it.
desktop.
It's not going, so, but we need to, move on.
Okay, so it would attach with your desktop, but for some reason I started with, it's not gonna attach from, something's not attaching properly, but you would do it from your desktop or your folder, whatever you need to attach from your computer, and the URL will read it, you put a name in it, you have to put another, header on that one, to attach.
Well, we want to move off of that part. Of course, we also have embedded within the microsite is the help text, and the help text and or the online training material. Well, if you get stuck on something on the how to do a thing, you can either go to online training or you can go to help, and both of those links will assist you. And then if you need to hear a human voice, because some of us, just need to hear somebody, and we're getting accurate answers and proficiency when we talk to somebody over the phone, you can always call the specialist.
Well, here it is. I attached the file. There's a drop down. You hit attach file. So you can either do a URL or a file where you can put text. So the URL you want to do, you can put the hyperlink here. It's a text. Just click it here, or there's a file just browse. And I did a file, and I probably had to do it URL. So it's all set.
Okay, so we need to get to the quote page where we can add our pricing.
One attachment is here, and then you can start attaching all your other files. You can also update or delete any attachments that you have if you want to change them out.
Quote by spreadsheet. Oh, we don't have that. I don't know what Bernie did.
So you want to save the draft. Take note of that RFQ number, the quote number as well, 126028.
Her spreadsheet should actually be done,
It's more spreadsheet.
if you hit by spreadsheet. Yeah. Import it. Export it first. She should have one. Export it first. I don't know. Open. Open. So, edit. So, what, because we're doing because of electronic bids, the developers thought it'd be simpler for the vendor and for the using department to automate a spreadsheet with the requisition lines and what is required. So come down. That's your yes. Lines. Go to the lines tab. 101. Okay, very good. That's good. We only have one line. I hadn't looked at this yet. We just went through it very briefly about 20 minutes ago, before 2 o'clock. So this RFQ has one line. Okay, and so you want to enter your quote price. So you see that, okay. So you see that this is the one line. Just looking to see what are they buying. It's US dollar, of course. Estimated quantity is 1. You're putting in your quote price of $1. Okay, no notes. Well, that's down to the end. What's down to the end?
Every submittal require your price?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. In lieu of what?
Well, like for engineering services, things like that. Who is price?
It's based on the line item, right? And it should be a price by hour. It should be.
Some of the RFQs are blanket qualifications.
We need
I'm
a
sorry.
mic.
Oh, yeah, I have the same question. Some of the RFQs are blanket qualifications where there's no price being asked for.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true. That is true. But because I appreciate your questions, and please write your questions down on your survey form, so that for one, it can either be answered via email or we'll put it in our frequently asked questions as trainers. We'll put it in so that we're familiar with what it is that you're interested in knowing when it comes to eBid solicitations. So that's why you asked that question. So that's not my area. I don't want to speak to it. I do not want to speak to it, but I appreciate you saying that it's usually not a requirement. Okay, it's usually not a requirement. Pricing on RFP or RFQ, that is generally not. They don't need, not by pricing.
Correct.
Right.
They actually are RFP or RFQ. When you do a bidding, you would attach all the required documents there. Now, for the system's sake, there is one. It has to be at least one line, and for that, it's like a dummy line for us, and that's just a requirement. And so, on that line, you would get an instruction to say put .0001
Yeah.
on that line.
Right,
It
right. That's
it
correct.
doesn't
Yes.
count towards your bid.
Yeah.
It's just a
Right. .00.
yeah. It's just a dummy line because of the system's requirement. So, but all the other attachments and all the other things that is needed, you just attach it. Okay.
Can you show how you got to that line again?
Sure.
Where you clicked?
Yeah. The one line on the solicitation. He was submitting his quote.
Okay.
Okay. He wants to look at submitting the quote, and he wants to look at that one line, which was.
So,
Very, very good.
so here, you'll do a quote by spreadsheet if you have more than one line. If you have like 50 or 500 or 200 lines, then you would export it because you wouldn't want to go through each line by line in the system. That's when you do the quote by spreadsheet. But because this is one line and it's pretty much a dummy line because this is an RFQ, we just wanted to demonstrate what online bidding looks like. Okay? And so for here, we'll just say 12.
What if it doesn't pertain, it's not by the hour or anything like that? What do you put in there? What's a dummy?
So if it doesn't contain, the specialist will give instructions that would say here in this line, it will say, please, and then a notification will go out to you. It say, please add whatever in that line. So they'll instruct you further on what to put in that line. Okay? So for the sake of just demonstrating the how to bid electronically, if the lines pertain to you, then they were showing you that.
Right, and that would be on online discussion. So if you are, keep watch of your email because when you submit a solicitation, the specialists talk back to you in what is termed an online discussion. And if they did need something from you, that's where it'll be. That's how you guys would talk back to each other. We can show you that when we get there. Yeah.
So you just go ahead and say save.
Save your draft. Save and save often. Remember, save and save often. Continue. Are we ready to submit it? No.
Okay. So if the particular bid was a requirement, your quote would appear here. So your total after you add all the lines would appear. But again, for RFQ, there is no line, right?
Right.
And so you wouldn't have a quote value other than the one they told you to put there, right? And it will be discarded, but again, just to fulfill the system requirement, it's going to be there, okay? But for the other ones like constructions, commodities, small orders, that there are lines, you will actually, your quote would be here, okay?
System automated. Yes, ma'am.
So as long as you're saying everything you put in as saved draft, you can go back in and make modifications to any of the documents you attach.
Yes, ma'am. You can, right? So someone cannot pick up where you left off at. So you're in iSupplier portal and you have more than one person who has access to the portal, but the person who initially started the solicitation is the one who has to complete the solicitation. Okay.
So you can have more than one person per company log in to these.
Mhm.
You would be able to see that somebody's already started it or where they're at, or are you just going to see a blank page that's only assigned to that user?
Great
Correct.
question. Only assigned to that user.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, what companies or such as yourself do that have more than one person that have a login information, they just go in just to see what's there. They don't submit, but they only have one person to submit on behalf of the organization.
I have a question regarding that. Do you have a criteria to determine who's authorized to do that? I mean, is there some way that we submit our owner's signatures and they get a separate password, or could any estimator or anyone who had access in our company just open up a record and submit a bid? Or is
So
there
that's
some
an
kind of
internal.
code?
No, that's
That's
an
internal.
internal process that you will probably need to talk with the president or whomever. We, as a city, just want to know who is actually you're placing the bid. That's all we're looking at. And if that person that's placing the bid, when it's time, if you're granted the contract, we have your title and your name there. And so we can always reference back, say X, Y, and Z signed this particular bid, and their name is on the contract.
So there's
Right.
no like electronic signature, like there's no signature page that
No,
we're.
this right here, as Pamela
signature page to the electronic bid is one thing. The signature page, or the signature page to an awarded contract is another thing, right? So the president of the company does not necessarily have to be the one that's submitting the bid. Doesn't have to be. So that's not the pressure point. The pressure point is the signature that's required on the signature page at award. Okay, is that your question? Yes, that's okay. Yes, ma'am. So now you're ready to submit your quote. You're ready to submit it. You check off on the electronic signature box saying that this is me. We are ready to submit our bid proposal. Everything that's within here is true, finding to what we know we want to do for the city. You enter your name and your title, and you hit submit. You must check that box, though. So if you don't check the box, you'll get an error message, and you'll be trying to figure out. You're all the way at the end now. You've done all the parts. You're all the way at the end. So that's the last thing to do is select that box. So now, this column here is your response status, right? So this column says that we have submitted a solicitation for this. This is our response number to this solicitation, right? And it's active. So we're in active status right now. So we've submitted it, so we're happy. But down here, this says that resubmission is required. And that's because at this solicitation number, you see there's a solicitation number 48, 5. That comma 5 or that comma number represents an action. So something occurred, like an addendum was processed, a clarification was processed. It's an information for you, the vendor, that you must acknowledge. So it hasn't been acknowledged yet. That's why resubmission is required. You will get notification on your online discussion that there's a 6317, 1 if there's an amendment, an addendum, or a clarification. Okay, so that's what that means. So be mindful of that the comma number is an addition. Something occurred for your information that you need to act on. You must act on it, because if you don't act on it, your bid is null. Your solicitation bid is null and void. Okay, you always want to see active. Okay, all right. So I'm Pam Walker Smith, right? And that's my supervisor, Felicia Warner. And she and our deputy, Benjamin Ho, helped or assisted with Do It and the other departments to implement eProcurement. I'm brand new to the process, and I'm learning to uphold her spot in doing presentations and doing our workshops. So this is my very first soup to nuts workshop, and I didn't know she was even here. So she actually was here right in the nick of time to answer those questions I could not answer, but trust is right here for the next one. That's going to be next month at this same date and time. 3 weeks, the third week, every third Thursday, I'll be right here presenting on these workshops for our eProcurement. So thank you for showing up, but I just wanted you guys to know that this is my first one. So as from soup to nuts, I filled in. I come in on the iSupplier part, which we really didn't look at. We went straight to how to submit a solicitation. We went through this like 10, 15 minutes an hour ago, just like real brief, and so I'm quite excited that I completed that. So now let's go to online discussion. Can we get to online? Click on your solicitation number to go to online discussion. You're spinning. You go to actions. Now, when you begin, become familiar with the actions area. Different pages have different actions. This is what this has, but other pages may have more action items that you might need to look at. So, but this is how action item, you go to online discussion.
And I have one quick comment here too. So see you have like 42 days, it'll tell you how many days before the bid opening, and you want to change your pricing or attach other documents, and you still have time, right? How do you do that? See that create quote?
Go
You
back.
can go on create quote, and what it will do is it will override what you actually submitted the very first time.
That is
right?
correct.
And so say I want 25 now. I'll go to continue, and now my quote is 25. And then I ask you for your name again.
So you have to sign it again.
How about all the attachments that you had done under the other quote?
They're still there.
Still there.
Yeah.
The attachments are still there, you can just
Absolutely.
change the pricing.
You can
Yeah.
change the pricing or go to the header page,
Yes.
add additional attachments, whatever you want,
Yeah.
and submit, resubmit. And so you'll still have the same response number, but now it has your new value, okay? So I just wanted to bring that to you.
Does the system accept submittals if your part's missing? Does it accept submit if you're missing?
So if you are, I'm just saying no. So if you have missed something on the requirements section, then the system will stop you, right? If you forgot to attach something, the system won't stop you, right? So it's up to you to go through to make sure, because the requirement section is just a checklist and say, hey, this is what they're looking for, and I did this. So you want to double check and make sure that you attach that particular document that they're looking for. But if you don't check or select an answer in the requirements or put something on the line,
The yes, no
then
page.
you will not be able to submit a bid.
Does every RFP, RFQ, everything, does everything have a checklist?
Yes.
Is everything on that checklist?
Yes. Yes. So before it goes out to the public, the specialist, along with the law department, goes through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that everything it is what is required from you. And if something is missing and they catch it after publishing to the public, then an addendum or amendment would occur, right? And so that has happened where the specialist had fat-fingered and hit publish and said, oh, I forgot something. And so in that case, you would see two things. It's going to say, oh, you got to acknowledge this addendum because it's an addendum before it even hit the street. So you're acknowledging the original, and that addendum. Okay? And so all of it will be in the one document, but you just have to acknowledge it.
Each contract type has a different type of boilerplate, each one.
Yes.
So it's so whatever is required for any one of those contract types, the requirements, it's listed in the boilerplate, so nothing's missed. And like she said, if it is, you'll be notified on online discussion and or per your addendum amendment.
Do you guys have a preference in terms of how you break up your submittal? Because you theoretically could make it one giant PDF and submit one document, or you could submit a whole bunch of
Well,
them.
they does that. Right. Yo, so you thought she was going to say it differently than I already told you no.
So, great question. So, for attachments,
That's cute.
so, and we go through this again at all pre-bid, and we go through how you attach it, but great question. So, we're asking that the title of each document starts with the specification number, so it reads spec, the number, colon, and then what you're attaching.
Right.
If it's a certificate of insurance, your EDS, that's what you label it. Bless you. Sure. So the
No, just the structure.
okay, yeah. So the format of attaching your document or titling your attachment, it is spec, SPEC, the number, the specification number, the semicolon, and then the title, like certificate or insurance, or EDS, or book 1, book 2, whatever it is that they're asking.
Can you do COI? Will that be okay?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But we just want, so the reason why we do this is that, so for RFP and RFQ, as we take your bid, once the bid opening and we're able to see all your documents, we're going to download that because no longer are we like taking paper. We're going to download that and put it in a folder that says, hey, specification number X, Y, and Z, and these are all like EDSs. This is based on your company's name. So that way we know you submitted all the information that is required.
Our company name doesn't go in the file name?
No, because what is happening, once you attach it, you bid online, we know it's your company. Could be based on your login.
In terms of how it's broken down, because we have, like, if we're submitting a qualifications-based submittal, it asks for a whole bunch of things.
Okay.
And it may not say specifically in the RFQ, you need to submit your insurance certificate separately. You need to submit your, this section of the
Sure.
response separately. Does that, how do we determine how to split
Great
that?
question. So, now we're trying to standardize everything, and some things we can't. But I know for the particular RFP and RFQ, our deputy procurement officer, they actually going to tell you at the pre-bid. So I know for other bids like construction and small orders, that's the way they title it. The title is going to be there, but I don't know for RFP or RFQ if they're going to say put certificate of insurance, this, that in one.
Right.
And then,
Right.
so I don't know it. So I don't want to give you that format and say put it all in this one goes in that and this goes in that. But I know the title would say specification number and then whatever it is.
Right.
Okay?
So that's a very interesting question pertaining to RFPs and Qs. So when you see on your abstract and or the bid opening listing, or if you get signed up and you get DPS alerts and your interest is in an RFP, RFQ, come to the pre-submittal, because the pre-submittal is where you'll meet the using department, the specialist that's assigned to the contract, the engineers, and any questions that you may have, you can ask at that time and they'll answer your questions. As well as online discussion as well. You can send a question through online discussion as well.
So we're going to go back to online discussion. Click on the message. Ready to speak to this now?
No.
No?
No.
All right. So here, when you click on online discussion, as I just did, the default is going to be to the city of Chicago. That's all. You're going to send it right directly to the specialist, not the user department, but to the specialist that is handling this RFP, RFQ, or bid, or what have you, right? And then in the subject, you would actually ask, place like questions or such and such, whatever the title is, and then you ask your question within the body of the message. Now, if you have more than one question and you want to put it on a Word document, you can do that as well. You just say see attached and then add your attachment.
Very good.
Okay? So I'm just going to put question and then blah, blah, blah. And then once you're done, you just hit send. And then that question will go directly to you. Now, the process for handling all questions, because they'll be getting questions from whomever is going to bid on this particular one, the specialist will combine the questions and answer into one document, one or two, or depending on how long it is, and then they would actually send it out as an addendum. So as long as you acknowledge our terms and conditions, you're on our takeout list. So anything that happens to this particular solicitation, you will get notified about.
Can we see everyone and every question that has been posted by anybody? Or
No.
just ours?
So just yours. And so, but when the specialist replied back to you, you'll get to see every question, but you don't know who sent it, but you'll get to see every question and every answer to that question. Okay, great. Great point too is that your bid is sealed, even sealed to the city up until bid opening. So we can't see anything, and nor can anyone else see anything you're doing to your solicitation or your RFP up until the bid opening. And then on bid opening, all we do is read your, depending on what it is, RFP, we're just going to read your name. I think that is what bid and bond do. But if it's a bid or construction, we read the name of the organization and then their quote. That's it. We see nothing else. Now, the specialists, once they get through, they actually go in and then compile everything and then send it on to the user department to determine who won or whatever the case may be, scoring and things of that nature. Yes.
Yes, Lynn.
So as far as the line item,
So earlier there was a question about the line item and the quantities, because in the RFQ you don't necessarily know. There's no price or anything like that. So what does that look like when a specialist, because she said, is this a pop-up or something? What does that look like? So if they're responding to, like, if she said we would need to enter a certain quantity based on what the specialist says, but what does that look like? Will it be a pop-up? Will we need to go to, like, the message system?
Great question. So on your solicitation, right, and I'm going to go back in to the edit. So I'm going to create another quote, right? And for you, you'll put that quantity in, whatever they say to put in. Right. But for the specialist, they're going to see a zero. They see nothing. But they get to see all your documents that you attach.
Right.
Is it?
My question is, so you know what quote price to put in there until the specialist lets us know, right?
Right. But they'll let you know based on the line description here. Here.
Right.
It would be listed.
Pop-up then.
No, it's not a pop-up. So once this is actually a true RFP that we copy from production. And so this is actually what you will actually see. But however, when I copied this to demonstrate this, I didn't copy over the language that the specialist will put in to you. So the language goes a little bit like, oh, this is a dummy line, whatever. Please enter 0.0001, and that's what you will see here. Okay? And so on the specialist end, they would just see that zero, but they know it's a dummy line, so then they just download all your attachments and all your documents you provided for us. I hope that answered your question. Okay. Yes.
when there's an addendum or any other important information that gets emailed out,
Sure.
does it only get emailed to?
Okay. I think they're taping, so.
When there's an addendum or any other important information that gets sent out, does it only get sent to the one email that is connected to the login for your submittal? Is there any option to add other email addresses, or is it just that one? Okay.
That's that one. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. So this is system of record, and so we didn't want to customize, we being the city, didn't want to customize a whole lot, and so we went with a lot of the basic functionalities, and one being that the notification to multiple people at one time, that wasn't one of the options. So I just wanted to make sure everyone hears that. So it's only the person that is actually in or has submitted that particular RFP or bid or what have you. Okay.
What happens, like, if the person who began the submittal and didn't finish it?
They still get a notification.
And they become ill and don't come back to work, and they need to submit it needs to be submitted. Can somebody else pick it up, or do someone else have to start over from that company?
So, great question. So, we're working on that where someone do win the lottery and say, forget it, I'm not coming back to that company,
right.
or I felt, yeah.
Right.
Then we're working on where they can put someone else within your organization can be reassigned that particular bid, right? So you can go ahead and pick it up and finish it off. But right now, then that person, the other person, would have to submit another bid. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get her first.
Yeah. Start over.
Yeah, I'm an IT, so you don't supposed to, but yes. Yeah.
Like log in.
That's what you do?
Yeah, just here. And we've seen that. We've heard it. And yes, so.
It's not like it's, computer specific.
No.
Right.
It's, you can share it. I mean, you didn't hear that from me, but you.
Right, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So we created a Seville account as like an office account, and that's how it's a person.
Yeah. That way anyone can log in and, yeah.
Our email address and your type.
Absolutely.
So the notifications of firms that are chosen, does that come through iSupplier, or is that different?
No, it comes through iSupplier. It says something like workflow mailer or something like that.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you know on the addendum with the questions that have already been submitted that need to be by that due date are going to be sent out?
So no, there's no particular time frame. So the process is that you send us the message, they compile it. The specialists will actually have to send it to the user department to get answers, right? And so depending on the user department and getting that back to you, I don't know, it could be 1 or 2 days or a week. I'm not 100% sure as to when the turnaround is, but it's based on the fastest way they give you the answer, or give the specialist the answer to give back to you. That's not answering your question, or?
Because there was on the RFQ, it gave a date.
Yeah, so,
Question response.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
By a certain date, but
Yes.
there's been no broadcast of those questions and answers yet.
Oh, no. So I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't know when they're going to come out, right? I'm not sure. I know once they get them, they compile them, and like I said, they go through that process. But yes, the cutoff date is the date, but responding back to you is the process that they go through.
Yeah.
Okay?
But you can always send an online message to the specialist, right?
Yeah, and they
How
can,
soon can we expect?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the home page so that they can see what the work list looks like? That's where they'll be getting their messages from?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna wrap it up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We didn't go through some stuff, but it's okay. So,
Right here.
we didn't look at iSupplier portal. I do have a question. So, companies, vendors, your online discussion will be right here in your work list, right here. It's the whole thing about setting up a preference. We won't go into that, because the preference will allow it to hit your mailbox and here. But right here, any online discussion, it's going to hit right here in your mailbox. So
It will hit
will?
there. It will hit their
both
mailbox.
places?
Yes,
Very
yes,
good.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Theirs not acting like ours, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So just be cautious. Notice that you will have messages here. That's where your online will hit right here. Okay. For iSupplier portal, we can wrap it. For iSupplier portal, there in the admin tab for iSupplier portal, that's where you vendors are able to change, that's the most proficient thing that I like about the portal, is that you'll be able to change your address, your phone number, add a contact person. That's for the admin tab. In the iSupplier portal, you'll be able to look at your payments, look at invoicing. Right now, for companies, you aren't able to submit an invoice. Our delegate agency departments can. That's a program that they have. Our contractual vendors cannot. You can't submit an invoice, but you can look at all previous invoices and payments by the using department. So both responsibilities are very advantageous to you. One is the iSupplier portal, and then the other is online bidding, homepage sourcing. This concludes our presentation, our workshop today. Thank you so very much for coming out. I hope we answered all of your questions and that you had a fabulous time with us. Thank you. Have a great evening.
If you get a second, please fill out the evaluations that you can leave on this desk right here. As you exit. If you have any further questions or would like to pick up more literature, feel free to do so. And Elise? So you have to learn something out. Okay. You can leave it up. Okay, leave it out another presentation. Oh, okay. Yeah, she has another one. The iSupplier portal, and then oh, yeah, I forgot. These are these two. So this is one, and that's the last one. So you have these two, that's so happy. Yeah, so you go here, see, thank you, 14 page, page, thank you. And then you have to survey the number, and then you, it's history that we want to know. And then you search for it, and you look it up. So this number, thank you so much. This abstract. This number is.
Yeah, I've noticed that it must be because I'm on the 7th. I've got it on the 7th on my radar for like the 20th.
I have logins on my radar for it. And I haven't seen any of those.
Actually, there's
target market
two of them, but there's two. One
And
is
then you
construction
go
management,
through.
the other one is design.
Oh, I'm looking for construction management, target
Design one
market.
was due on the 7th, I believe.
Okay.
But,
And then,
so I don't know which one they were looking at.
6317, I know that was for the master contract.
And then-
Construction
and
management.
then
Okay, so then, yeah, so from mine, the one I have.
and then